Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score. I'm your host Steve Ortman. Alongside me this week, Tim O'Neill.
Yep, I'm here.
Yep, he's here. And what can we say about this week's episode, Tim? Vikings and Cardinals and Bobcats. Oh my!
Oh my.
Oh my, it's going to be a wild episode. And we're going to start last week's game up in Edgewood, Iowa. Yes, I checked out the Edgewood-Colesburg Vikings last Friday night. Sorry, Edgewood Meat Locker. I know you sent that nice message to us on Twitter. These guys kept me in the office and I wasn't able to get up there in time. But
shame.
Maybe next time. But anyways, I did catch the Vikings on Friday night. A very impressive 40-6 win over MFL Marmac. The Vikings have now won 7 games in a row. They're 7-1 on the season, undefeated in Class A District 5 play, and they got a chance to win their first outright district championship this Friday night when they visit Clayton Ridge. The first district championship since 2006. Did I say that?
I wasn't listening.
Okay. Well, maybe you weren't either. But anyways, to clarify, their first district championship outright since 2006. They can do it this Friday with a win at Clayton Ridge. Vikings rolling towards the postseason. They pick up a win on Friday. This should be good to go. This win on last Friday against MFL, boy, Preston Rochford, senior running back. He's been terrific all season for the Vikings. He carried the ball 20 times, 237 yards, 4 touchdowns rushing. He also added 4 receptions for 30 yards and another touchdown, 5 touchdowns for this young man. He's been a fantastic spark for the Vikings this season, and his 86-yard touchdown run he had against the Bulldogs, just phenomenal. Hit the line with power, broke to the left sideline, and he just burned the safeties chasing him down for that big touchdown run. He's had a terrific senior season. I caught up with Preston after the game. Here's what he had to say about the big win and how the Vikings are feeling about their season.
Yeah, we knew MFL was going to come out, and we knew they were going to be big and physical, and so we had to come out hitting. And we came out a little slow, but we got ourselves composed a little bit, put some points on the board, had a little hiccup before half, but we stopped them on the goal line, so we were going into half feeling good, and coaches told us we just need to execute a little better. They executed well in that half, so we just need to execute better and do what we know we can do. And we had a big half, put a lot of points up, and got some different guys involved, got some young guys with some experience now, and yeah, it really worked for us.
Yeah, you guys are 7-1, 7 straight wins. You're in the driver's seat for a district championship, first one since 2006. What has this ride been like for you guys this year?
It's been crazy. We knew coming into here that we could win this district. If we worked hard in the offseason, we had the goal, and we could win the district. And so all we needed to do was execute, and that's what we've been doing so far this season. We've been going to practice, working hard, and we've just been coming out fired up on Friday night and executing, and it's been working.
All right, now your dad's the coach. You got a little brother out there making plays. Talk about what this kind of like a family reunion for the Rochfords here on the football field.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Football really never stops at our house. I mean, we go home and we're talking about practice, talking about things we can do against this next team, and it's great being able to play with my little brother, seeing him making plays, and yeah, it's sometimes fun with Dad. I mean, he comes home and he's still a little fired up from practice sometimes. The practice has been tough, but yeah, usually it's been fun.
Now, I noticed your dad out there on the sidelines lipping around. You didn't give him a chop block in practice, did you?
No, he thought our JV QB had some trouble handling the snap. So he thought he could go in and do it, and he took one step back and broke his leg. So, I mean, I guess he learned his lesson that his football career is over now. I mean, he's just got to coach. All
right, that was Preston Rochford. Obviously, a fantastic season, and this is already the most wins since more than a decade for these Vikings. So they're going to look to add to that total here this Friday and possibly into the postseason. So. Kudos to them for another big win. And Tim, you were talking about 2 teams desperate to get in the win column. Maquoketa, Dubuque, Wahlert last Friday night. Neither of these teams had won a game yet. It was a wild shootout going back and forth. The Cardinals, though, come out on top.
Yeah, I tell you what, a couple of 0-7 teams fighting desperately for that first win. And wouldn't you know it, the first quarter they combined for a whole bunch of points. Just a track meet in the first half.
Is that official?
That
in the box score, a whole bunch of points?
A whole bunch of points. I think that was the official stat,
good.
yes. And records were broken in this one, too. Starting with Wahlert, came out on the short end of a 55-48 decision. But quarterback Bryce Osterberger broke the school record for passing yards in a game. He threw for 422 yards, and he tied the record with 5 touchdown passes. And receiver Danny McDermott caught 8 passes for 279 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
Yards and touchdowns are a record. Unfortunately, those all came in the first half. He didn't have any receptions in the second half. And that's when Maquoketa rallied back. It was 42-21 at Wahlert. And the Eagles actually led by as many as, it was 42-21 at halftime. Wahlert led by as many as 42-14 in the first half. And Maquoketa just came out like gangbusters in the second half. Cannon Coakley, probably named as aptly as one could be for a quarterback, threw for more than 380 yards and 2 touchdowns. He ran for more than 100 yards, ran for 4 touchdowns, and he also caught a 13-yard touchdown pass. Now his 8-yard touchdown run with just more than 6 minutes left was the go-ahead touchdown. Wahlert came back downfield, got within the Maquoketa 10-yard line, but the Cardinals defense stiffened, got a sack and a fumble to prevent that potential tying score. And 55-48, I get so discombobulated watching a game like that, I don't even know how to talk about it, but hopefully you can figure something out of that.
Well, after an 18-game losing streak, this had to feel good for Maquoketa.
Absolutely. Really excited for them, and they were really excited as well. You know, Maquoketa had qualified for the playoffs 6 out of 7 seasons, with the last time coming in 2015. And since that 2015 season, the Maquoketa Cardinals are just 2-24. So it's been a tough stretch for them, but they're building for the future. You look at the roster this year, they got a bunch of players on it, but only 3 are seniors, 19 are sophomores. So they're getting a lot of valuable experience. So Maquoketa could be a team to watch out for in the coming seasons.
All right, now we're heading towards, I can't believe it. Is this real life? We're heading towards the final week of the regular season in Iowa football already. Unbelievable. For me, looking at the games coming up here this Friday night, I'm going to be going to Cascade. Should be a very fun matchup. Bellevue at Cascade. These teams have played a few years ago, went apart, and now they're back together here in the same district. Comets looking to lock up a district championship. They've been very impressive. They're undefeated, looking to close the regular season unblemished. Hunter Clausen, all-state running back, missed the last 2 games due to an injury, but I'm just going to have a hunch that he's going to be back for this one. So should be a fun game there, and Cascade fighting for a chance to get in the postseason. If they could beat Bellevue at home, anything can happen. What else are you looking at?
Well, let's look at the broad picture. I mean, you know, it's the last week, so there's playoffs on the line. You talked about Edco. Edco's got a district championship game this final week against Clayton Ridge. If Clayton Ridge wins that one, that's a tie for that district championship. You mentioned Bellevue. Western Dubuque has a chance to win a district championship. They're playing at Maquoketa. If they win that one and Marion upsets top-ranked and defending state champion Cedar Rapids Xavier, that's a 3-way tie for that district championship. So those are some huge games. Western Dubuque still has a good chance to get in the playoffs with a win and a Cedar Rapids Xavier win. So they're not depending on Marion to get into the playoffs. And elsewhere in the city, Dubuque Senior will close its regular season at home against Cedar Rapids Jefferson, and Dubuque Hempstead will be on the road at Waterloo West trying to end the season on a 3-game losing streak. End the game on a 3-game winning streak. Excuse me, I screw those up all the time.
You're almost out of excuse me. So.
I am. And then Dubuque Wahlert will finish the season on the road at Center Point Urbana trying to get that first win of the season. So before I can screw anything else up, Steve, please start talking.
All right, and then we're also looking, Wisconsin will be starting the first round of the playoffs.
Playoffs?
You did a good job hitting that softball. I lobbed that meatball up for you. Yes, the playoffs. A handful of teams. Potosi Cassville has looked so good this season. They could be looking at a rematch with Blackhawk in the second round. That could be a phenomenal matchup there. Lancaster, Fenimore, Mineral Point, Prairie du Chien, some fantastic teams have reached the postseason there. So we'll have all those scores and updates for you all around the bend of high school football. TelegraphHerald.com as well as in the print edition. And now, that's going to do it for football. Let's have a little beautiful fade screen or something, and we're going to come back with Brenden West. Talk a little volleyball. All right, we now welcome Brenden West to the set, the volleyball savant himself.
Yeah.
You ready to talk some playoff volleyball?
Oh yeah, playoffs are upon us, and we have a lot of really interesting local matchups on all three states that we cover actually. So I'm really excited to see how things sort of turn out here. The key ones in Iowa are definitely Beckman, which is ranked number 2 in Class 2A. They are highly favored to advance very far in the tournament, and they have had a fantastic season so far. Only 3 losses against 45, 46 wins. It's hard to keep track of all the wins because they've had so many. Also, WAMAC champs. That's going to be an exciting team to watch.
Was that the first time ever they won the WAMAC? Did I see that right?
First WAMAC title for the Trailblazers. So they're a senior-heavy team, very loaded, very talented across the net and in the back row. So we are definitely really excited to see what happens with that program. Then obviously you've got Wahlert. They'll be seeking their 20th state championship this year. They've won 2 championships in a row. They did it. They lost a lot of key pieces from the last 2 championships due to graduation, but you know what? They still have Aaliyah Carter, who set a record in last year's state championship match with 35 kills. So expect her to turn things up here in the playoffs too. They have a first-round bye, and they'll be playing the winner of Maquoketa, Western Dubuque, on next Thursday. So we'll definitely be looking forward to that match there. Then obviously on the Wisconsin side, River Ridge, they entered a first-round bye on their way through the Division 4 playoffs. So we're going to be looking to see, they're undefeated on the season. So we'll be looking to see how far they can advance. They've come really close the last couple of years, but unfortunately Benton has knocked them off the last couple of times. This year, the Timberwolves actually knocked out Benton and handed Benton their only 2 losses, pretty convincing fashion, 2 3-0 sweeps. There's a chance we'll see that River Ridge Benton matchup again, but the Timberwolves definitely seem really poised to do very well in this year's state tournament. So we'll see how that kind of shakes up here. And then back on the Illinois side, we're talking about Galena every single year. Dennis Wills has definitely churned up an excellent program there. They lost a couple pieces from last year, but new pieces have sort of stepped in. You've got Morgan Wills on the outside, she has arguably the most wicked jump serve in the area. And then a couple of sophomores from last year, they've really grown into really key pieces for them. We're talking, of course, about Sammy Wassmund and Mackenzie Muleup. They have really taken on a bulk of the responsibility in terms of offense and then set up a great block on defense. So we're really excited to see how the playoffs turn out this year, because every year, we're talking about some fantastic volleyball teams, and this year it's the same case. All 3 states, all 3 sides of the river have some excellent volleyball to play this postseason.
All right, we'll see how things unfold here over the next coming weeks. And that is going to do it for this week's edition of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score. I'm your host, Steve Ortman, alongside Brenden West. For Tim O'Neill, I don't know where he went. I think he went to the bathroom. But that's going to do it for the 3 of us, and we will see you next week.